based in regard to that, and this convention needs to be cemented rather than broken for that.
Convention needs to be cemented and strengthened. Time for a short break now. When we return, we discuss the governor's role in cases of defection. Welcome back. After the break, we are discussing the issue of defections and the role of Speaker and the Governor. Mr. Bidwinder Singh, in the last segment, we were discussing the anti-defection law. What kind of changes should be brought about in this anti-defection law?
I tell you, in the previous segment, Mr. Balram was discussing the role of the Speaker, that he should be not be playing any partial role. I am speaking out of my own experience as a presiding officer. Once there was a situation in the Punjab Assembly, some opposition members from the Akali benches commented something against the Honorable Speaker.
Were you then member of the Congress party or the
I was the member of the Congress party and Deputy Speaker.
Right.
During question hour, and the Honorable Speaker adjourned the House and refused to preside over the House thereafter. So I was called, then I was to preside over the House. A message was sent to me that the entire opposition has to be suspended. So I told the Honorable Minister who came with this message from the Chief Minister that, okay, you bring this when I preside over the House, then I'll decide on the chair.
Okay.
Yes. Now ruling party wanted that the entire opposition, including Sardar Prakash Singh Badal, should be suspended from the House, so that he is not given the opportunity to speak. And the Honorable Chief Minister has a field day. So when that issue came to me, I addressed the House. So I told them that I have to run, the duty of the Speaker is to run the House. I have to give equal opportunity to both the parties. And I suggested them that the House would be now governed by the magnanimity of the Honorable Chief Minister and the Honorable Leader of the Opposition. I would not ask him, he is the eldest member of the House, he is the senior most member of this House, 3-time Chief Minister, that he should literally apologize. But a slightest expression
of... So you tried to find a why media in the whole thing.
Finally, I was able to run the House. But Mr. Badal also spoke and the Leader of the House also spoke. But in the evening,
but how the Chief Minister must have taken your gesture?
In the evening, I was reprimanded that you were knee bent towards the opposition party, and I had to submit my explanation.
So this is the neutrality of the Speaker, Mr.
I would
tell me, a second. Finally, I tendered my resignation that I cannot function like a puppet. I'm a Speaker.
So
I have to.
This cost you a job. Yes, Mr. Gupta.
I compliment him the way he handled the situation. That is what exactly the role of the Speaker.
But it still cost him his job.
Yes.
No, question is, that is a matter of principle. Yes, even if it cost him the job, he stood by the principles of the institution of Speaker.
Yes, now Mr. Gupta, moving on to another issue. Another point that often arises is on the powers of the Governor under Article 191 of the Constitution. Now here the Governor, in consultation with the Election Commission, he can disqualify a member of the House. Now is this power subject to misuse?
It is. It is like, the Governor doesn't act of his own as such. And if this particular power is given to the Governor, even if it is in consultation with the Election Commission, yet it is likely to be misused. Consultation doesn't mean that whatever the Election Commission would say, it is mandatory, it is binding on the Governor, and consequently I would not suggest that.
Justice Dwabia, in this case, should the Governor first refer the matter to the Speaker before he actually consults the Election Commission and makes a call?
So far Section 190, Article 191 is concerned, it deals with a very different situation. If a person is disqualified before he files his nomination papers, the returning officer can reject his nomination, then he has got to go to election petition and all that. Article 191 deals with a situation where a member incurs some disqualification after he has been elected.
Yes.
Then the matter is referred under Article 192 to the Election Commission, and the Election Commission gives its opinion. And normally, so far I have not seen any deviation from that. Normally the opinion of the Election Commission has been accepted by the Governor or by the President if it is from Lok Sabha or so I don't think it requires any change in that, because it's a very limited issue. I think during this democratic period of 60 years, these references are made only in 5 or 6 cases. It doesn't arise. It arises in a very rare case.
So there is no need for a change there.
I don't.
I just add a footnote to that, and I totally agree with him. If the Election Commission is consulted, and the consultation is in the nature of acceptability, and in that particular process, this process is absolutely constitutional and in order.
I will say only one thing.
Just Abhi.
Way back in 1964, the issue came before the Supreme Court about what process of selection should be adopted in these appointments and all that. And one paragraph which I had been often quoting was this, that whatever system you adopt, ultimately it is the character of the man who is made to sit to decide that will be relevant. Whether the question of whether there should be interviews or written tests, the Supreme Court said it is ultimately the moral fabric of that particular body. So that applies to all situations.
Right. Mr. Bidwinder Singh, once again in Karnataka it appears Article 356 of the Constitution may be invoked. This is a constitutional, this is an article which has been invoked time and again, though the last couple of years it hasn't really been invoked. Now in this case, the governor can recommend president's rule in a state if he feels that the constitutional machinery has broken down. Should there be safeguards against the misuse of this provision?
There should be, because in Karnataka, as you watch every day, you see governor is making a political statements every day. Governor has become a party against the chief minister. Governor is behaving like a very jealous person. You see, why should governor say ke you can't cheat me, don't be very clever, like, I mean, such comments are not expected from a
governor. Would you agree with Bidwinder Singh?
So far as the Karnataka issue is concerned, you see, on that issue so far, the governor of Karnataka has not made any recommendation.
Earlier he had, one is not sure about what he said in the second report.
Therefore it would not be proper to comment. But the fact remains that it is writ large that the MLAs have shifted their loyalty from one side to
another. At least 2 times over.
2 times. And on what consideration.
It's a very interesting point that Justice Dwabi has raised, Mr. Bidwinder Singh. After all, why have the MLAs, particularly the 11 MLAs of the BJP, why have they shifted from one side to the second and then gone back again?
No, that's right. But governor, you see, to my mind, has no business to make statements like this. I mean, to prove
but a point. But he definitely has a business if there is major corruption which is taking place, which indications of which are there in this case.
Certainly. You see, governor, when governor is meeting the prime minister and thereafter he makes some recommendations, that means he is not, you see, applying his own wisdom. He is taking direction from somewhere. So, you see, in Karnataka case, it's quite evident that role of the governor is not above board. He has become a party.
But what the Supreme Court has said, I think they have virtually indicted the role of the speaker there.
They had indicted the speaker, but now people are demanding that speaker should resign.
That's right. Mr. Gupta, do you need more safeguards as far as Article 356 is concerned?
That is true. But looking into the present situation as such, I was reading the letter which the MLAs wrote to the governor expressing no confidence in the chief minister, not that they were saying something with regard to the party as such to which they belong. They did not express any desire that they want to leave the party. Only a no confidence, no faith in the leader, legislative leader of the assembly as such.
That's why the role of the speaker came under question. Yes.
That is exactly where the role came in, and you're right absolutely when you say that the Supreme Court has indicted the speaker. in the sense that in order to ensure that on the 12th of October, when on the floor of the House, everything was to be carried out, prior to that, a day prior to that, on the 10th of October, they were disqualified. Now the High Court upholds that disqualification made by the Speaker. What the Supreme Court now says is that it was in a hot hurry that the Speaker actually acted upon.
In fact, Mr. Gupta, today the Supreme Court has given another addition to the earlier indictment of the Speaker. He's actually cancelled the disqualification of, the Supreme Court has cancelled the disqualification of even the 5 independent
That's
MLAs.
right. That's right.
That's on a different reasoning.
Of course,
Not on the principles of natural justice, but on a different reasoning that the independents don't become
Joining the party doesn't mean that they are
That's
not
right.
still independent as such, on a different principle. But the Honorable Supreme Court has even gone to the extent of saying extraneous considerations played the role in disqualifying these particular persons, MLAs. Now, in this context, the issue which comes up, is it a situation which warrants to recommend constitutional breakdown of the machinery in the state or not? Now, I personally feel my own view of the situation is this is not a situation which warrants that, in spite of the fact that the Speaker has been indicted. This situation is to be dealt
there is
with.
no constitutional breakdown, only they were perhaps only seeking a change in the leadership. But just
In
Bhavya,
my-
here, the same very MLAs have now reposed confidence in the same very Chief Minister. So what's going on? Possibly a lot of horse trading going on.
In
No?
1967, the term Ayagram and Gyarams came, and immediately after this rule was, Article 356 was invoked, and Parliament, this assembly was dissolved. The situation in Karnataka is no better.
Is no better. We're running out of time. Mr. B. Dunder Singh's situation is no better in Karnataka, and possibly he's suggesting that the situation is ripe for invoking 356.
Legislator, you see, I feel that this anti-defection law requires to be revisited, and it has rather breed more ills, because it has given to the Chief Minister a right to behave as an autocrat, and voice of dissent has no role. MLAs are threatened that you will be removed under anti-defection law, and Speaker, as in case of Karnataka, one simple letter written by Chief Whip or leader of the legislature party, and in a summary trial, you see 3-4 days, you are removed from the membership, then you rush to High Court.
So we
Supreme
finally
Court.
all disagree to agree that the anti-defection law needs to be revisited.
Yes,
it
yes,
needs to be
revisit.
revisited, and one of the situations I would say, a person shifting his loyalty should not be given any office of profit at least for 2 years.
It has reduced the status of MLAs and members of parliament to a perpetual slavery of the political party particular to which they belong.
Right, since we run out of time, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us in the discussion. Despite the constitutional amendments, the move to check the Ayaram, Gairam culture has remained a halfway house. The power to adjudicate on the issue lies with the state assembly speakers and the governors of the states, who invariably allow party interests to dominate. The lesson from Rajasthan, Haryana and now Karnataka is that there is a dire need for holistic and not piecemeal reforms in the legislative system. That is all in this edition of Prime. Tomorrow we meet again with another issue. Till then, good luck and goodbye.